Travel the World of Music with You Changfa. Written by You Changfa, produced by Philip Shea. Composer's expertise. When we speak of composers, it is often customary to speak of their symphonies, saying that, "I think Beethoven's Fate Symphony is the most powerful, Mahler's Eighth Symphony the most majestic, Dvořák's New World the best," and so on. It seems that all composers can make symphonies, and the symphonies are the focus of all composers. Of course, this is not the case. First of all, the symphony only emerged after the classical period. To become what we value today is probably something after Haydn. It was Haydn who wrote things like the Toy Symphony and the Farewell Symphony. That got us interested in the symphony. Then Mozart went on to write something like G minor that made us feel good, and want to listen to it again and again. Then Beethoven wrote 9 more symphonies that we liked to listen to and had something to talk about, and the symphony project became the composer's focus. Before Haydn, composers had a wide variety of works: opera, oratorio, chorus, various instrumental music. Just no symphony like Haydn or Beethoven. The great Bach wrote several pieces called symphony. They are clavichord pieces around 20 or 30 measures. Today we are accustomed to calling these pieces 3-part inventions. They are beginner and intermediate piano textbooks. The scale of sound and length is afar from the symphonies of Haydn and Beethoven. Even after Beethoven, many composers wrote symphonies, but not everyone did that. And there are good and bad achievements. Because composers are mainly musicians, and most of them are players, big or small, and then go to compose. Then, naturally, they composed more and more works, and became more and more recognized, and finally they became composers. They don't necessarily all write symphonies. Mozart, Beethoven, Brahms, and Mahler were all doing that. When Western music was mainly church chorus earlier, the composers were all choir members. Later, when the court was the main force of music, composers were first musicians of the court orchestra and then the concert master. Can't be called conductor, there was no such profession at that time. They later became professional composers. That's how Haydn became. After Beethoven, the middle class rose. Paganini made a living by violin, and naturally he wrote violin music. Chopin's specialty was the piano, of course, he wrote piano music. In Brahms' era, the church and the court no longer organized orchestras, and successful businessmen formed the Philharmonic Association to jointly hire musicians. Brahms wrote chorus, piano, solo and concerto, orchestra, and symphony. Brahms ended up being the principal musician and composer of the Vienna Philharmonic Society, and started out as a pianist with no regular employer. Schubert, a little guy who was a primary school teacher, wrote folk songs. Because his life had nothing to do with church musicians, court musicians, or philharmonic musicians. He was just a petite citizen who went to a local bar for a drink. However, Europeans developed a remarkable group of music lovers, from the time of Haydn to the end of the 20th century. These people loved music, not only listening to music, learning music, but also covering a wide range of fields. Not only rich in knowledge, but also very capable of playing musical instruments.